Reality is a fickle thing. To some, the current One Piece chapter would be 867, most in fact. But to me, the current One Piece chapter is chapter 3. LJH70R, where the last two letters are typos. One Piece chapter 4. Pirate Hunter Zoro starts off with Luffy and Cody on a ship discussing whether or not it would be a good idea to invite Zoro to enter the crew. Cody's against it. Luffy is open to the idea so long as Zoro's a good guy, which Cody doesn't think would be the case because he was arrested and good guys aren't arrested. They make it to land. Luffy's ecstatic because they made it, and he's talking about how great Cody is, and Cody's kind of like, no, well, that's just navigating. This should kind of be the easiest part of pirating. At the next scene, we see Cody and Luffy eating, and Luffy's talking about, okay, you know, we'll split up here and you go be a big famous Marine. And Cody's crying, and he's like, okay, I want you to be a big name pirate too, even if it means that we'll end up having to be enemies one day. This is such heavy foreshadowing, it hurts. I literally hurt my back with how heavy this foreshadowing was. Then Zoro comes back up in the conversation. People freak out, chairs go flying, everybody like huddles against the wall. Here, children or animals just desperate for somewhere to hide for safety. Cody's like, maybe you can't say that name, and then he mentions Lieutenant Morgan. Everybody freaks out more and leaves. So afterwards, they're walking. Luffy's laughing so hard he's got to grab his stomach. He's talking about how great the place is. Cody's kind of confused and worried because he can't see why everybody would freak out over the Marine being mentioned. And Luffy says, well, maybe he did something bad too. Cody gets upset by this. He's like, no, good people, that can't be the case because the Marines are the good guys and they're in charge. It's because of people like Cody who think that people in power never do anything wrong that the world is such a shithole that it is. Next thing you know, they're at the Marine base and Luffy's like, okay, well, I'll see you later. And Cody, he's freaking out. He's paused. He's like, I'm not ready. And instead of waiting for Cody's reply, Luffy just looks over the wall and he's trying to find Zoro. Cody's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You can't just find him like that. They would have him somewhere secret and hidden and really, really high level containment because he's such a powerful person. Nope. Luffy found him. He's over there. He goes to a different part of the wall for a better look, and then he looks over. And then Cody gets up to look over. And I'm wondering how Cody got up there because Luffy's athletic, so I can see him climbing or jumping real easily. Cody, not so much. Wouldn't bother me if they showed Cody out of breath, but he's not out of breath. It seems like it was pretty easy. And so there's a man tied up, and he's just staring forward. And then Cody freaks out, like, that's him. And he kind of like jumps down, revealing that the wall wasn't as high as I thought it was. And he's like, that's him. And, you know, Luffy's like, how could you tell? Cody says, that black hat, that black bandana, that killing intent or killing aura, it has to be him. Here's a question that I have. What is a killing aura? Because it's really, really prevalent in anime and manga, and you see it all the time. But what is it in real life? I know it's not desire to kill because there's people who want to kill that show up in anime, and they, you know, it's not. That's not it because they don't always talk about the killing intent. It's not physical strength because there's people that come off as weak that have killing intent. It's not body posture because we see people who are really relaxed. It's mentioned that they have killing intent. There's even been cases where people are completely disguised, camouflaged, and they're on the side and you can't detect anything from their body, and they're like, how did you know I was there? And they're like, oh yeah, that was killing intent. I could sense your killing intent. What's the real world equivalent of killing intent? Or killing aura? After they finish freaking out, Zoro notices Luffy because Luffy was looking at Zoro, and that's how eyesight works. If you can see one person, they can see you. And he tells Luffy, hey, let me go, come here and untie me, and I'll go out and I'll get a reward. I'll do some bounty hunting, I'll get a reward, and I'll give you everything. And Cody's freaking out. He's like, no, we should not do this. We should not do that because he might run amok, he might hurt people, he might even kill you. And Luffy, real nonchalant, like, no, he can't kill me. I'm too strong. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know if this is based on, you know, fact, or it's just the fact that Luffy grew up big fish, little pond. So next thing we see is a ladder, and then we see a little girl on that ladder. And then we see a little girl going like this to Luffy and Cody. She jumps down, so I guess it really isn't that high because she can just jump over, and goes to Zoro. And she's real happy. She's like, big brother, I brought you rice balls. And Zoro's pissed, or at least he's acting pissed. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here. I don't want those. I'll kill you. And she's sad because, you know, she worked hard on them. Enter Helmeppo. And he's talking about how Zoro shouldn't talk like that to little girls, and he'll tell his daddy on him. Okay, here's my thing. I understand that Zoro yelled at the girl to save her. He wanted her to get out of there so she wouldn't be in this situation. But here's the problem. By refusing the rice balls, he made her stay longer. By yelling, he might have drawn attention to them. So now they have to deal with a man named Helmeppo. Automatically, you know the family isn't right because they named him Helmeppo. That's a sad clown's name, the kind that sings opera. And it's not just one person that's not right, because it took at least one person to come up with the name Helmeppo, and it took another person or a group of people to not verbally reject the name enough to keep it from becoming a thing. So Helmeppo, he explains to the girl how lucky she is that she's a little girl, because there's a sign that says anybody who tries to help a criminal will get the same fate. This next comes foreshadowing, where he says, you're lucky that you're a child because you would be executed. So save that for later. So then he takes the rice balls and he eats it. I have a problem with this. And it's not a moral, ethical kind of issue, because he's the villain, he's on a power trip, he wants to show his dominance. Fine. My thing is, why would you just take somebody's food and eat it? I can understand taking it and throwing it, or taking it and throwing it in their face, or taking it and just smashing it, but why eat it? You don't know what's in there. For all you know, everybody has you pegged as an egomaniac who will take food, and they will just poison that food, and then you'll eat it, and you'll die, and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was bringing this to my grandfather. I love my grandfather. I wouldn't have done it, and what's anybody gonna do? Exactly, it's a stupid idea. So he eats the rice ball, doesn't like it, spits it out, and starts throwing it in the mud and stomping on it, because you do not make rice balls with sugar. You make them with salt. Interesting that a criminal would take time to explain how to cook to a little girl. So he turns to the Marine that's with him and says, throw this girl overboard. Over the gate. And the Marine pauses because it sounded to him like a grown man just told him to throw a child face first over a wall. Then he does it because the man Helmeppo reminds him about his father. And I kind of want to see his father, I kind of don't, because on the one hand the father has to be tough to be a Marine and be in charge, but on the other hand he really screwed up his son. His son is a daddy's boy, and there's just that title invokes so many uncomfortable feelings. So Luffy catches the girl, she's fine. Next scene, we see Helmeppo talking to Zoro about their deal, which is that if Zoro lasts 21 more days, because he's already survived 9 days, without food, they'll let him go. And Zoro says, yeah, sure, just keep your promise and we'll be good, we'll be square. Helmeppo leaves, wishing Zoro luck, because it's a stupid deal and people do not survive 30 days without food or water. Next scene, we have Luffy. He goes over and he talks to Zoro, tells him, you know, I'm thinking of asking you to join my crew if you're a good guy. Zoro laughs it off, says, no, I have my own dreams. This is really interesting because he's met two people, one of which was an adult teenager who mentioned that they have dreams and they will do whatever they can to fulfill those dreams. I have not met an adult like that in like 10 years, 15 years. Most people don't have dreams. Most people are dead inside. Most people will say, if I can go to bed and wake up with somewhere to be tomorrow at 8 a.m., I'm happy. Two people with dreams. Really, really, really low probability. Especially since this world kind of seems not so grand to most people. Like everybody just comes off as they're happy living in their own place. And before Luffy leaves, Zoro says, wait. Maybe not wait that many times, but he does tell him to wait. He says, give me that, which is the rice that was smashed into the mud. And Luffy's like, you want to eat this? And Zoro says, yes, I do in fact want to eat that. And Luffy's like, okay, well, you know, you're starving, so you can't be picky, so he gives it to him. And Zoro eats this. I'm impressed by the fact Zoro eats this, because he swallowed. Now, it's one thing to put something disgusting in your mouth. I've had a roach in my mouth, a live roach. It wiggled. But to swallow is something completely different. That's a whole level altogether. I did not swallow the roach. I threw it up. Once I meant to just drink Coke with ice. Got an old Coke with a live bug. I put it in my mouth, felt something squirm, threw up. There was no control of the matter. The fact that Zoro does not throw up impresses me. I'm in awe. I do not have this kind of skill or ability or even potential for to ever reach that kind of ability. Next scene, we have Luffy and Cody talking to the girl, and they find out that the reason why Zoro was arrested was because he killed Helmepo's pet wolf, which was running around and attacking people. I understand Zoro is not a villain, and he's not a bad guy. He's not evil. He did it to help people, but you killed the dog. So it's kind of hard for me not to be in Helmepo's side on this, because somebody killed my dogs, would be like, no, shoot him, dead. I agreed with John Wick, like, all the way. Just everybody deserved to die for being even associated with somebody who harmed a dog. Wolf dog, same thing. So then Luffy's kind of like, wow, he really isn't a bad guy. And even Cody's kind of like hesitating, like, well, maybe he's not evil. There's a Kamokus, and everybody's getting down on the ground, prostrating themselves, and we find out that it's Helmepo, and he's making a big deal and telling people, yeah, you better bow to me. I'm going to hammer in the fact by executing that idiot Zoro in 3 days. Luffy reacts to this. He goes and starts talking to Helmepo, and Helmepo laughs and kind of makes us think like, oh, this is so rude, you just talking to me. Luffy says, you promised him a month. And Helmepo says, that was a lie, and only an idiot would believe it. And I don't disagree with Helmepo twice in one chapter, which is not good, because only an idiot would believe that. I don't care, you were in a concussion when you were offered that deal. It's a stupid deal that only idiots would take. Luffy hits him. Cody is in shock because he says, are you crazy? Do you want to start a fight with the Marines? He wants to be the king of the pirates. There's no way he's not going to come into conflict with the Marines. That was a given from day one. Chapter ends. Not a big shock. Luffy says, I'm going to ask Zoro to join my crew. I enjoyed it. Good chapter. Can't wait till, chapter 4 tomorrow. See you guys then.